Hello, welcome to Dual Credit U.S. History Unit 4. This is, okay, I know I say everyone is my favorite unit, but this is so cool, guys, because this talks about the Civil War, all right? So, Lesson 16 talks about Fort Sumter and secession. I've been to a lot of battlefields from the Civil War, like a lot of battlefields. And the battlefields are always amazing because they're huge, like amazingly huge. However, I went to Fort Sumter with my husband and his family. It is really, really incredibly small and kind of amazing to think and mind boggling to think that this is where the Civil War started. So, anyway, um, it just totally incredible. For instance, this is me at the battlefield of Antietam. Super, super interesting. Many, many years ago. I will give you that. Super interesting to learn about just how huge it was and to learn about all of the technology and all of the stuff that was new in the Civil War. The problem was we didn't have the tactics to go with it. So we could fire guns at closer proximities, but they didn't work at these closer, they would blow people to smithereens, and you could have stepped, a few hundred yards away to fire, and it still would have done the same deal, but we didn't know that at the time. Lesson 18 talks about behind enemy lines. It talks about well, um, the hospitals in military times. Medicine of military times was just downright frightening. You were a lot more likely to die in the hospital than you were to die on battle. It was scary, very, very scary. Okay. Also learn about the Emancipation Proclamation, and that was drawn up by Lincoln and his staff, which was amazing at the time. And they disagreed on a lot of things, but they were always able to make really important decisions together. And it was really an amazing team. There's a book called Team of Rivals that you might be interested in. Anyway, so interesting stuff. Um, but they put together the Emancipation Proclamation, which just freed those slaves who were in the areas that had seceded from the Union. Okay, so just those ones, not the slaves in the areas that had not seceded from the Union, because we had a few states, namely Kentucky, um, that had not seceded from the Union, even though they had slaves. President Lincoln once said something like, I hope that God is on our side, but even more than God, I hope that Kentucky is on our side, because he really needed Kentucky. Kentucky was really super important as far as getting supplies and stuff like that. Okay, so this is something about the draft. There is the Lillenquist collection, is what it's called, and it's at the Library of Congress. And I was able to see it when it first opened. And there was this idea of dying the good death, and having the good death was having your family around you at the time that you died. And the Civil War really made that not happen anymore, because no one, a lot of soldiers were just dying after battles. And so it wasn't the good death. Okay. Um, Here's more in the hospitals and more of the medicine at the time. Like I said, you were more likely to die in the hospital than you were on the battlefield. It was grim stuff. Here are people at the battlefield, people who had their pictures taken. This was a new technology, again, that was given, that came about right before the war. Here is Gettysburg, I believe. This is as far north as the Confederate Army was able to go during the war to Pennsylvania, and then after that, they just had to retreat. It was a major turning point of the war. Here is the cemetery at Gettysburg where the Gettysburg Address was given. Super interesting stuff. And here's the Anaconda Plan that was given to just kind of squeeze off the South. My in-laws live in Atlanta, and there is nothing in Atlanta that was constructed before 1865. It used to be there, but it's not there anymore. Why? Because it was all burned. Because Sherman had his slow march to the sea from Georgia, and it started in Atlanta, and they burned everything. They dismantled all of the railroads. Everything was completely gone. So here is the place where Abraham Lincoln was shot. As they say, other than that, how was the movie Mrs. Lincoln? Right? So super, super interesting stuff. Your project for this unit is going to be a document-based question. A document-based question means that you're going to write the essay from the documents that I give you, okay? You can't find any of your own documents. You need to write it from the documents that I give you. Your hint says open it at the beginning of the unit and consider the question throughout the unit. You may be able to finish the project towards the beginning of the unit, but then you'll just turn it in at the end of the unit, okay? So you're kind of in an advantage because you can work on it, on again, off again, whatever works for you. So if you have any questions, please let me know. That's what I'm here for, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much.